Okay.
Meeting is now in session. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tara, roll call.
Councilmember Campbell.
Here.
Councilmember Ring.
Here.
Councilmember Mays. Councilmember Barnhart.
Here.
Councilmember Bakke.
Here.
Councilmember Hanselman.
Here. All right, and Councilmember Mays reached out to me a short time ago and said that he is unable to come to the meeting this evening. He has some unfinished work that he needed to attend to tonight. So I will let you guys digest that, and if you would like to excuse him from the meeting, I would just need a motion to do so.
I'll make a motion, excuse me.
I'll second.
Councilmember Ring made the motion to excuse Councilmember Mays with a second from Councilmember Bakke. Tara, roll call.
Councilmember Campbell.
Yes.
Councilmember Ring.
Yes.
Councilmember Barnhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Bakke.
Yes.
Councilmember Hanselman.
Yes. All right, motion passes. Councilmember Mays is excused. All right, on our agenda, we had a presentation that was supposed to be tonight from Kelly Fass, but she is actually stuck at another event, so we're going to move that to next meeting. And then public comment would be next. However, we don't have anybody here tonight, so we will move right along and go right into the department reports. And the first one I'm going to start off with is fire and EMS. Counselor Joey, what do you have for the group tonight?
I put it together. I'll give you guys a copy of it. But I haven't really been at many of the meetings. My schedule's been kind of messed up with everything, so I just went ahead and made it back as far as the fire runs. But, not a whole lot to report. You know, we've been busy. We were really busy with grass fires and that for a while. Unfortunately, Mother Nature started raining, has never quit, so it kind of brushed that down. You guys can read through it, but to highlight a couple of things is we just finalized, at least Travis did, our contract with the Mount Laurel Burn Tower. Because if you guys remember, we were always going to Loveland, which was always problematic because it's an hour away and taking guys that far away, blah, blah, blah. So Mount Laurel got built one, so it's actually a little cheaper as well. So, and I did a 10-day, 2-day course in Columbus on fire code enforcement updates, which was really nice. It's the first time I've been there, but it was kind of eye-opening on some of the things that just coming down the road and some of the changes in fire code, how it's really going to change next year. So, we're working on a grant for a new medic unit. I think we talked about Travis is going to get it for us. I'm confident in him. He's going to get it. I hope he does, because you can see the hours and mileage on the 2 units that we're running. Our new radio should be in about any day. If you remember, we got a $50,000 grant to get some new radios. Those should be in. One thing we did this past week was really cool is I got a call from the Mennonite school out near Arnheim, and they asked if we would come out and show the kids fire truck and an ambulance, so we did. And there was probably, I don't know, 20, 25 kids and a handful of adults, and interacted with them, showed them the trucks, and it got kind of cut short because we had a call we had to leave to. But it was neat to see them, but it was interesting. They're getting ready to build their 4th school out here. So they said, and I was talking to one of the elders or whatever they're called, but he said there's about 250 Mennonites in between Georgetown, Russellville, Sardinia, and Mount Laurel. I had no idea, but that's a lot of them. So we do have some Amish, but the little kids were really excited, and they got to spray some water. So, you know, we're going to be working with Travis and the water department at the end of the month to service and flush all of our hydrants, which I could tell you the last time that was done. So we're going to go out that week. I think Tara's going to put one call on Facebook post out. So between our agency and his, we hope to knock all 300 of them out in 1 week. So, and I'm sure we'll come up with some that aren't functioning properly and will need maintenance and repair or replace. So we're working on an increase in Medicaid and Medicare revenue. Kelly and the Travis and I've been working on that a little bit. I got some work to do on it, so. We are fully staffed with full-time folks. I actually just interviewed 2 new part-timers and 2 volunteers, so that was very, very welcome. So, outside of that, we'll be at the 50-year ceremony, whatever you want to call it, that Southern Hills is having next week. So we're going to go out and set up some trucks and land helicopters. So outside of that, if you guys got any questions, my phone's I'm always available. So.
Joey brought up a good point there. Next Thursday, not this Thursday, today is Thursday. Next week on Thursday, Southern Hills is having a 50-year anniversary. And they're doing a ribbon cutting at 2 o'clock. I believe it's also for part of their new facility
Yes.
to showcase that too as well. So if you're not busy, I know I'll be there as well.
Is the governor coming in?
Yes, yes, the governor's going to be there too as well. Travis, that's what I looked at you for to study that. I just
I wouldn't wear that, but I would.
got that on my calendar today.
Yep.
So, yeah, so if anybody else wants to attend, feel free to do so as well. As always, Chief, you put in a lot of time and effort, a lot of hours. I see your car up there all the time. So we certainly appreciate what you're doing. Obviously, we know year after year, nothing but the calls go up. They don't go down. I mean, I haven't seen a trend like that since I've been here. So I know it's a job for you and it's a job for your team, but we certainly appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Mayor. One other thing I didn't put on, our generators are about 90% installed. So hopefully next week it'll be completed. Duke was out today to make the connection. They had to inspect something and actually do the connection, but they're running the wires and they're having to bore through some of the walls. So it's just been a little more than I guess they expected. So hopefully by next week it's up and running. So.
Fantastic, and that's a big addition for you guys if you didn't know. We functioned this firehouse for as long as we have without a backup generator when power goes out, and that's something that we certainly need in this day and age. So I'm glad to see that coming to fruition and getting finished as well. All right, anything else, Chief?
No.
Any questions for Chief? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the list, Chief Enlow.
I won't take too much of your time. I just want to share something really exciting that it's been really kind of been worked on for many, many years. It's just now coming to fruition. Contrary to many belief, when law enforcement shows up on scene, our primary goal is to solve a case. Unfortunately, a lot of times we're left with no evidence or no way to solve that case. We have so many cases that we deal with. A lot of times we forget that person that's being victimized, a lot of times for your average citizen, most people probably only call the police once or twice. So when that person calls the police, we really want to do our best to solve that case. That being said, a lot of times we deal with people fleeing in the woods, fleeing from cars, breaking into garages, houses, and once they run into the woods and the fields, we really don't have any way of chasing them or catching them. Statistics show a lot of times that when those type of crimes occur, a lot of the criminals actually stay in the scene, circle around back to the scene, and actually watch law enforcement on scene as they're processing the scene. So with that being said, I wanted to introduce you guys and give you guys a little demo to this little guy here, and we're going to call, this is GPT-10, but we're going to call him Black Hawk 2. So what this is it's a thermal drone. It has the option of a regular camera and then a thermal camera. And what I mean by a thermal camera means that in pitch black, where you can't see the hand in front of your face, this will, from 400 feet in the air, this could pick up a full heat signature of your body, hand, or anything for that matter. When I went to the sheriff's office 3 years ago, my first couple months there was the time that they got a drone and started launching their drone program, and it ended up on our shift. And the amount of people that we caught that we never would have ever had a chance at catching was just extraordinary. There was even a few life-saving efforts where we saved some lives with it. They probably would have perished if it wasn't for the drone operations. So I'm just going to show you a little bit about it. I got a little quick video. If you could pull that video up and just pause it. I do kind of want to show you guys something before I get into that. So I'm just going to show you kind of what it does and kind of what I see from the remote and what it can actually do. And then I'm going to show you a couple videos. And a couple of these videos, I'll explain them. I'll have them pause and unpause as we go through. Some of them are just random videos just to kind of give you an idea of the benefits that this thing does for us. But 2 or 3 of the videos are actual field usage with me being involved because I wanted to kind of personalize it instead of just getting random videos off the internet. So before I get into that, I want to show you what I see from the remote. And it's kind of matched what's up here. The quality isn't the best because when you blow it up, it gets it loses the pixelation a little bit. But it'll still give you a good idea of what I'm talking about when we get through here. So as this thing's booting up, how it's going on right now and going through the process of loading up, when this is in my car and I respond to a scene, I can have this in the air from off to in the air in approximately 2 minutes, which is really, really quick. We can fly it up to 400 feet, and we can fly it within all visual line of sight of where we're at. I'm going to pass around this remote because I want you guys to see kind of firsthand what this thing can do. First off, I'm going to show you that. That's just showing you your heat signatures. So if we turn the lights off right now, this wouldn't change. Everything would be exactly the same, but even if you couldn't even see your hand in front of your face, we would see everything that you see right now. So one of the other things that I can do with this remote is I can actually get a topographical map of where my drone's at all times. It's not going to show it now because I don't have a GPS signal in here, but if we go back to that, I can also do what's called picture-in-picture mode. So I can see everything in my surroundings, but I can also have a heat signature as well. If you want to take that and just kind of pass them around there. So basically in this video right here, this is just kind of showing you what you're seeing right now. This is the pilot's view. You can go ahead and hit play when you're ready.
Would it help if we dim the lights a little?
Yeah, there's that one back there. Oh, yeah. It's still a little garbled up, but you can kind of see, and I'll kind of talk through some of this data as we go through. It's only a 3-minute video, so it won't take me long. Okay, if you could pause it there for me real quick. Okay, so what this is at night. This is just a random video that I got off the internet, but it's the same screen that you're looking through there. As you can see, it's got all the different data on it. So like at the top, the arrow pointing up with the flat spot, that shows the distance from the above ground level to how high you're going. The one next to it shows how far away it is. All the other things are just different settings on pictures, video, different thermals. So all those heat signatures that you see on those remote controls, you can change the colors on them depending on your environment that you're looking at. Max altitude been reached. This thing also has what's called an ADS-B in. All aircraft now flying in the FFA are required to have an ADS-D out, which is a positioning sensor for every aircraft that flies in the sky. So basically what happens is if an airplane's getting near to me, it will warn me where that little screen is right there that there's an aircraft near. You can click on it and it'll tell you the heading, the altitude, the speed at which it's flying. So it's pretty cool to have that kind of information pop up. So you go ahead and hit play now. And this is just going to show you, this is at night, so it's showing you the heat signature of there's some animals there. Now obviously it would be a lot clearer on the remote, but this just kind of gives you an idea. If you would turn this off of the thermal and onto the camera, it would be completely pitch black. So right here, this is actually me. Go ahead and pause this here. So this right here was a drone find that we had over on 68 in between Mount and Georgetown. The call came out as a garage break-in. The lady came out and confronted the bad guy. They got into some kind of situation and the guy fled. 99% of the time, we never ever would have found this guy. We had a 20-some minute response time being out in the county. By the time we got there, we took the report. We decided to launch the drone. We found this guy about a mile away in the field. I was able to drive my car in the field with the headlights off, find him, and then ended up confronting him here. You go ahead and press play. And we was able to get a B&E and get an arrest out of this case. Like I said, another case that we would have never ever solved. There was no connection to this. Go ahead and pause this one right here. This is another version, this is another one of me. This was a, probably like a 45-minute long pursuit that went through the county. What happened is I went down on 41, I spike stripped the van, popped all of his tires, and when I did that, he could no longer run from the police, so he decided to drive his car high speed off of the boat dock into the river. The problem with that is it was about 25 degrees out. The guy was in full clothes and had boots on. So I didn't show the whole video because I didn't want the video to be long, but basically we are probably, I don't even know how long, but we're far away from the dock. So what he did is when he was able to get out of his vehicle, he tried to swim to Kentucky, only got about 50 foot out there and started drowning. By the time I got him, he was completely unresponsive. But had we not had this drone, this was dark, pitch black. His head was like a little bobber out there. But as you can see here, was able to find him based on the communications back from the drone operator to myself, and we was able to save this guy's life. So if you hit play, he's still barely swimming. I'm out in the river now. Actually, my duty belt's in water. I actually got stuck. They had to pull me out. My feet got stuck. But by the time when he gets to here, when I grab him, he's unresponsive at that time, and they ended up having to do CPR on him and run him to the hospital there. But without having that drone in the air, we probably would have never found him. He would have drowned. And this is where I kind of get stuck in the mud. It was really, really bad in there. But right now, he's completely unresponsive. He's just laying there. We're going to pause this real quick. This is another instance of one of our calls. This was a multi-county out of Cincinnati pursuit that came into, this ended up somewhere in Sardinia at the end. Long story short, the guy crashed into a backyard of a house, bailed out on foot, ran out into through some cornfields, and we lost him. Couldn't find him. Got on scene, launched the drone, had a location on him in less than 5 minutes, and this was the outcome of that. I ended up having to tase him, but go ahead and hit play there. As showed, I tased him once and he takes off running, and then I ended up having to tase him again. And then you'll see another car come pulling up, and this is like, this is probably a quarter mile out, way out into the cornfields. Just another instance, like even in the daylight, we wouldn't have seen a guy like that, even if he was hiding in the cornfield, but this is pitch black. So yeah, go ahead and pause this real quick. Now, the rest of these videos, there's 2 videos left. These are just videos. This will show you kind of like a side-by-side, but this is, in this instance, this guy, this was a search and rescue instance. He gets away from his camp, he gets injured, I think he might be intoxicated, but they can't find him, he's a missing person. Go ahead and press play here. But a screen should pop up, I think, on this one, and it'll show you the difference of what the drone operator's seeing and what the officers are seeing on scene. So you can see they immediately find this guy. So the right screen is what actually is being seen right now, just to give you guys an idea of what thermal does for us.
So on the right side, it only finds like the heat spots?
It only finds the heat spots, yeah. So there are some limitations to it. Just like every tool, it's only as good as it's able to use. Obviously, if there's a lot of foliage, that gives us issues. If they're running a building, it gives us issues. So there are some limitations to it. But this is what I kind of wanted you to see. Just so you know what the thermal does. Because when I say thermal, a lot of people don't know what I'm talking about. They might think I'm talking about pajamas. So this shows you what the officers are seeing and what the bad guy's doing right now. Right now, about where the bad guy is, we probably can't even see him anymore at this point. But I fast forwarded it through here, shows you where the drone follows into a tree, and then he's instructed ground units to come in and find the bad guy. And you can see as he slices the tree there, the guy notices the drone, and he's trying to get away, away from the thing, or away from the bad guys. think that might be it. Yes, that's it. So our very first find that we had with this was actually down in Ripley. We had a case where it was a severe domestic and severe assault on a female, and the guy ran into the wood line, and he was very far deep in the woods. And just to give you an idea of how the difference between being able to see a guy and not, we located the guy in the woods. I go deep in the woods next to the Ohio River to find the guy, and the drone operator is telling me he's right in front of you. And I'm like, I don't see him. I'm this close from me to you, away from this bad guy. He's behind a tree. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's not here. And all of a sudden, I see his eye peek out between a branch, and sure enough, he was there. So even me in the woods with a flashlight, this close away from a bad guy, I couldn't find him. But yeah, so I just wanted to kind of share this to show you guys the benefits of what this thing can do for us as far as search and rescue. If kids go missing, they're lost in the woods, we've had several cases where we've had kids from the school go back in those woods and ended up, I mean, we was on one, I don't know if you remember, where the kids, they had to pick them up on four-wheelers, they found them way back by the creek. So there's a lot of good benefits for it, but I just wanted to share that with you, and you know, if you see the orange guy flying around, you know, it's either doing training or it's out on a mission. If you got any questions, I can answer those now.
Any questions for Sean?
What was the cost?
I think this was about $5,800, which is really good because back when I first started getting into this, and I started doing the drone program for Georgetown probably 5-6 years ago, they were around $9,000 to $10,000, and these things have significantly went down. And it's not the drone that's what costs you. These drones are like $1,200. What costs you is the 640 thermal sensor in there, the FLIR thermal sensor, that you know, costs a lot. But as new equipment comes out and bigger drones come out, you know, it affords us a lot to be able to, you know, buy cheaper ones. You know, there's a lot of bigger ones and things like that, but these are really nice because, you know, they fold up like this. You stick it in your seat if you have to, jump right out, deploy it, and it goes. You can hand launch it or, you know, catch it, go from a motor vehicle, drive while you're doing it, you know, if you're a passenger. So there's a lot of benefits to having the smaller one too, but definitely a good deal for it.
Isn't that a crime to shoot it down?
Yeah. So it's considered an aircraft. It's actually got an aircraft registration number through the FAA. So it's registered and all that. So it is considered aircraft. I have to have a pilot's license, a remote pilot's license to fly it. So it is treated the same as an aircraft.
Are you gonna put something out like on Facebook saying if you see this drone, don't shoot it?
Yeah, I don't know if I will or not. I mean, I may not. The thing is, so, you know, there's a lot of, you know, when it comes to people talking about drones and things like that, you're never going to see this hovering in your backyard at like 50 feet, you know, looking in windows or anything. It's strictly a search and rescue drone at this point in time. So basically, when the higher we are, the more advantage that we have. So we can fly up to 400 feet. So when we do get into search and rescue incidents, we'll probably be around the 350 feet. And I mean, it's like this big. You can't even hardly see it up there or hear it. So, yeah.
Any other questions? All right, well, thank you, Sean, and once again, I know Sean and his team as well put in quite a few hours. This is one more thing that Sean has really been working on within the department to really be more efficient and bring it up to date, and I've been very impressed with the things that he's doing, so certainly impressed with it, Sean, and appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you, yeah, and if you guys ever have any questions on it in the future, just, you know, reach out to me, you know how to get hold of me. You know, when people start seeing this thing flying around, I'm sure they'll have questions, and I think it's a UFO and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, we can address all that when it comes. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, we will move along on our agenda, and the next item on the agenda is utilities, so Travis, I will turn to you.
We had our monthly department head meeting this Monday, so we did get some updates on what the guys are working on. As fire chief said, they are going to be flushing hydrants. They did flush the dead end, you know, the end of the main hydrants last year, so they have kept up with the flushing program, but not as much the exercising program. So that's something that, you know, they're looking forward to working with the fire department to get every hydrant in town exercised and flushed. And so we will post that on Facebook when we get closer to that, because that sediment is stirred up. That's mostly just calcium and minerals, but that will occasionally cause a call or two, but it's just something that you can usually flush out of your lines within 10 or 15 minutes. And then they have some hydrants to repair, and they're also doing some valve replacements. Electric, they're working on tree trimming for line clearance, and there's some poles that are past their lifespan that they're going to be replacing, some utility poles that failed the last round of testing, so they've called out some moves for those this week as well. And then they're still working with engineering on this first phase of our CIP program. So hopefully we'll be going out to bid early in the summer for that. And then streets, they are waiting for the plants to open to start repairing spots where we've had, you know, the water main breaks over the winter. So we'll be getting those patched as soon as the plants open. And then they also did a walk through the park with Fillmore Construction to mark the trees that need to come down before we do widen the walk path. So we have that documented. And I told them to go ahead and take any trees, even if they weren't marked by Fillmore, if they're close enough that they can cause root issues in the future. Let's go ahead and get those out of the way. So we're going to work on that as soon as it dries out a little bit. The plan was for Fillmore to come. I'm not sure if I mentioned this last meeting or not, for the June time frame, but we may just wait until baseball season's over, since it's going to be that close. So by the middle of July, that should be over, and then we'll just have them paved at that time if that works for Fillmore. Let's see, and then also with the streets with cemetery, we are out to bid right now for mowing contractor to mow the cemetery. So we're looking for two quotes, one for the full cemetery and one just for the larger sections, and then of course weeding, which takes up most of the time. So we'll see what we get there. We've already received 2 bids for that. We were contacted by St. Michael's. They would like to possibly use the park for their field days, because where they usually do in Ripley has been underwater, so they're afraid it's not going to be ready to use. So they are checking into that. And then let's see, for the park, I also have a rough draft of the master plan. So I thought I could show that here. Zoom in to each section. So out front here, we have kind of a rendition of what the new playground equipment's going to be. We've got the 7 to 12-year-olds. Next year we'll do the toddler, and then we'll connect those and get that all with ADA compliant sidewalks to those and everything. We're looking at maybe removing the sand basketball or the sand volleyball and putting possibly a sunken concrete skate park, maybe, to eliminate the skate park up here, something that's more durable, and then that would expand parking in front. We've got pickleball courts. And then we're looking at possibly a smaller soccer field, still being able to put one here. You know, that was the large field, but we think we can still fit a smaller field, because I think the soccer fields are well used in the park. So we've got still the 2 there. We're working on clearing out a lot of this, but we're considering another shelter house in this area, which would be closer to the back athletic fields for use. As it stands now, we have 3 soccer fields back here. Depending on how many 14U fields we need, we may not be able to fit 3 back here. So I'm just waiting to hear back from the soccer group on how many 14U fields they think they need, as opposed to 12U and smaller. And then improved diamonds. We're going to hopefully double the size of the parking back here. Possibly another shelter here. Widening the entry into the park. And then possibly this would be where we could have a BMX single track type thing, and then maybe a disc golf course over in this unused area where I think the Boy Scouts used to use. So that's kind of a first rough draft. So I will send this out to council so they can review it, and then we can discuss it again at the next work session and go from there. Any questions on this now?
I think it looks nice. It's been a lot of discussion. I know you've had discussion with council members and many people, just to get ideas of what we would like to see in here. So this is nice to see, definitely. And it's not anything that's permanent, right? So things
Right.
could still be changed if we feel like there's something that isn't gonna work or we don't want. We just need to be vocal about it and really get this right when we do it, for sure.
Okay. Let's see, I think that's it for park, and then, I think that's all I have for now.
All right. So we need to, item F on your agenda is to appoint someone to the planning commission, a council member. We have to have one appointed council member to the planning commission. And we do have something coming up, and that board is not full yet, so certainly need to appoint that person. I believe it was Amber, prior to Amber leaving council, so we just need to replace her on that committee. So I did not, I'm not gonna appoint somebody. I'm gonna allow somebody that really wants to be on this, to be on it. So does someone have some interest here at the table? I will tell you, it's typically not a lot of meetings. It's when something arises from a zoning standpoint that we have to address. Tony Ring?
I think everyone is looking at you, Jenny.
I was thinking you would probably be a good fit, but
can do
completely up to you. All
I can do
right, how do we do that?
it. Motion.
Motion. All right, so then we would need somebody to make a motion to appoint Tony to the planning commission.
I'll make a motion to appoint Tony to the planning commission.
Councilmember Bucky has made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilmember Campbell. Tara, roll call vote.
Councilmember Barnhart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bakke,
Yes.
Councilmember Hanselman,
Yes.
Councilmember Ring,
Yes.
Councilmember Campbell.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Have to vote myself.
It's a great way to jump in and kind of learn the ropes, if you will.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, Travis, I didn't mean to
While
cut you
we're on
off.
zoning, I do have a zoning topic of discussion for tonight for council. As you may know, the Fair Board is building a 36,000 square foot covered arena to go over the horse arena. So it's kind of an open air, but it's a building. In our zoning code, really, there's only residential and commercial, and that's pretty much how it is over there. Same with the building department that they'll have to deal with Claremont County. There's not really a non-profit option. So anyway, the way our zoning code is written, the fee is by the square footage for these large commercial buildings. So for this 36,000 square foot structure, it's over $8,000 for the permit fee for zoning. So they have asked that we consider altering that because it's really, as they feel like it's not really a building, it's certainly not really a commercial building. So the way our zoning code is written, it's council's choice to alter the fee for this. So I did look at other zoning codes in the area to see what their fees would be for this. And certainly we are high in that regard. I don't think anyone expected that our first large commercial building under the zoning code, 36,000 square foot commercial building, would be at the fairgrounds. Bethel's would come in at $1,220. Williamsburg just has a flat $300 fee for commercial buildings. They don't take size into account. Mount Orbs is $210. I don't agree with those less expensive ones because the reason why commercial is more expensive than residential and why you need to account for square footage is because our job when you're dealing with a commercial building for zoning, we need to look at the site plan And we don't have an engineer on staff, so we have to hire an engineer to look at the site plan to make sure, like, the big thing that we make sure is gonna be the water runoff is gonna be managed properly. So, so we need an engineer to advise us. And that, a lot of times there's back and forth once that first site plan is submitted to make sure that the adequate runoff for stormwater. So in this case, maybe there's not that much of an issue, but that's the purpose of that. And I checked with our engineer that does site plan review for us, and this would probably be $1,000–1,200 for engineering for the site plan review. So I think the way we do it is right. We might want to consider at some time a cap at certain square footage. It's limited, but the Fair Board is willing to pay the fee as is, but they have requested that we consider lowering it, considering what it is and who it's for, and that it's not really something that they're going to profit from. It's not really. I mean, it's quasi-commercial, I guess you could say. So that would take council action to do that in the form of a motion if we wanted to reduce it. If we want to reduce it, I would maybe recommend just going with something around the Bethel's rate,
What was Bethel's again?
$1,220, so something in the $1,200 range.
Yeah, I agree. I think it should be brought down quite a bit. I think that $1,200 is pretty fair. If you look at it, it's basically a roof structure. The drainage wise, it's on their property. They have enough property, it won't really get to our drain ditches that easily. So I think we need to address that and put a cap on it in the future for sure. I think right now it's, 2,000 square foot, anything over that, it's so many cents a square foot, right?
Yeah.
So I think, I would like to see that lowered. I think that's kind of a lot to ask cost-wise.
What we might look at doing, like, from 0 to 2,000 square foot is a certain cost, and then maybe 2 to 4 is a certain cost, and then 4 to 10 is a certain cost, and then above that would be maybe some square footage up to a max of a certain.
Is that something that
Is it-
council, I'm sorry.
Is it, they put a roof over the main ring, or is they building another?
It's going to be back. They're having to move it back. It's kind of going to overlap with where the current tractor pull area is because it has to be so far away from other structures. So where they originally wanted it wasn't going to work. But no, it's not going to be over the front.
It's a new.
This is the junior.
new build.
Junior.
Okay.
Right. So as far as changing the fees, that would go to planning commission for review. Right now, we're not looking at doing that. We're just looking to make to alter this fee for the Fair Board.
Well, as much as we use the fairgrounds, we kind of use it like it's our backyard, and we have events that gets rained out and everything else, so I think it's quite fair.
So then it would just take a motion to do so, from someone on this council.
And we've always had good working conditions with the fairgrounds.
Yeah, I would like to make a motion to reduce that permit fee. What do you want to do? The dollar amount was, what'd you say, $1,200?
That's fair, I think.
Okay.
Councilmember Campbell has properly made the motion to reduce the fee to $1,200 flat for the Fair Board. Is there a second?
I'll say.
Seconded by Councilmember Ring. All right, Tara, roll call.
Councilmember Hanselman,
Yes.
Councilmember Bakke,
Yes.
Councilmember Barnhart,
Yes.
Councilmember Ring,
Yes.
Councilmember Campbell.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Thank you. All right, Travis,
That's all I have.
any questions for Travis or anything that he's gone over? All right, if not, we will move along. We have a piece of business under item 7 on page 1, and it's an ordinance. Councilmember Campbell, can you read that by title for us?
Sure.
An ordinance repealing ordinance 1345 and amending and adopting in their entirety chapters 50, 51, 52, and 53 of the Village of Georgetown Municipal Utility Ordinance.
All right, and this is a second reading. Travis, just a little more clarity.
So yeah, as we talked at the last council meeting, we are adding a, hopefully temporary capacity fee for, this next year. This will take effect, May 1st, so that we can implement this and get it into the software for, billing when the June, increase is going to affect for our electric capacity fees, and that's based on the auction that happened last year for PJM. So that will go from the middle of this year to the middle of 2026. Hopefully this July, we will get better news for the next cycle of PJM, and we will be able to start working on, what that will be reduced to or eliminated based on what that PJM auction comes in at. So, but this will allow the customers to be able to see, separate from their energy cost, what that capacity fee is, and then it'll make it easier for them to track, as we have to increase or lower it going forward as the capacity market fluctuates. And this is something that, in the past, it was just absorbed into the energy cost because it was not that big of a fee, but now it's spiked, from like 69 to 269. And there was a chance that in last December it could have went to a 700, which would have been catastrophic, but they stopped that auction. So hopefully, there's a lot of work behind the scenes to try to rectify the issues, and hopefully they'll have that squared away before this next auction. But it'll be 13 cents per kilowatt is what this is.
And with it being a second reading, if there's no further discussion, I would need a motion to get this approved.
Make a motion to approve.
Councilmember Baki's made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilmember Campbell.
I need to clarify, I said
Yes.
13, it's 1.3 cents per kilowatt.
Everybody catch that? All right, Tara, roll call.
Councilmember Baki,
Yes.
Councilmember Barnhart,
Yes.
Councilmember Campbell,
Yes.
Councilmember Ring,
Yes.
Councilmember Hanselman.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Thank you.
Ordinance 1392, 1392.
All right, and then on page 52, you will see your fiscal report. And that runs all the way up through page 96. And you will see your payment listing on page 54. Take a look at that. If there are any questions, we certainly will entertain those. And then as we're running through, you'll see on page 96 is going to be your mayor's report. And it looks like we've got definitely an increase year over year. So thank you to Sean and his team there. And then you'll see on page 98, you have your zoning report from Mike Click. And as he notated on there, grass and weed season begins on April 15th. So we do have legislation that helps to enforce overgrown yards and weeds. Obviously, it's things are taken into account, like right now when it's raining and we're not out looking for weeds. We know that people can't get into their yards, so keep that in mind as well. We are human, and we take that human element and make our decisions that way too. Outside of that, do you guys have any questions on any of those reports?
So I will add that we did add new reports in for the finance report this month. That it does have, it's the first quarter revenue appropriations and the cash fund. So we did highlight items that were because now we're a quarter of the way of the year, everything should be 25%. So we highlighted some things that were off, but most of those, like, a lot of the things highlighted were contractual services that, you know, those contracts that you execute at the beginning of the year. So those will catch up over the course of the year, but they look high at this point. So there wasn't really anything, you know, that was out of whack this far, you know, this early into the year. There was one large item that made the sewer fund look like it had dropped substantially since the beginning of the year, but that's because we've paid the first 6-month payment for the loans that we have on the sewer department, so that will adjust as we go through the year. So just some things to note. It's highlighted. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Greg or myself and we'll answer those.
Thank you, Travis. All right, if there are no further questions, we will move into roundtable. And I will start to my left with Councilmember Campbell.
I just have a couple things for Travis. I got a call about, let's see, at 431 Elm Street, there's a tree that's, the school buses are hitting, sticking out by the white line, and then on the same street between Plum and East Plum and Grant, there's a pine trees the same way. So if you got some guys out that way next week, that's all I have.
Between Plum and
Plum and Grant.
okay.
All right, anything additional?
No, that's all I have.
Councilmember Hanselman?
Nothing.
Nothing. Councilmember Barnhart?
Nothing.
Councilmember Baki?
Nothing.
Councilmember Rain?
I also work for St. Vincent de Paul, and I had a guy come in last week to ask for some help with his electric bill. And his address is 963 South Main. He said that he was being charged 125% for not being in the village. And I just wanted a little.
So 125% would mean that he is able to be annexed, and I believe I'm speaking correctly, and he's decided not to do that. So if you can be annexed, but you choose not to be, then you're charged at that rate.
Well, I guess he didn't have the choice. He lives in a little trailer park community or rental properties that someone owns right across from the old Cowell Brothers building.
Okay. So that property would be eligible to be annexed, and that's how we could fix that. So he needs to talk to his property owner.
Okay.
Anything additional, Tony?
No.
All right, thank you.
Well, yeah, I attended the America 250 meeting, whatever, April the 1st or whatever it was. They had several people there, and it seems to be moving along quite well, so I'm sure they'll be back in to talk to us for maybe some other things that they need. But
Do you know when the next meeting for that is? You can tell me later.
It's in May. May the 5th,
Okay, 6 o'clock?
6:30.
6:30 at the CTC?
Yeah, vocational school out there
Okay,
separately, yeah.
all right. And you said May the 6th, right?
5th.
Sorry. Okay, thank you. All right, and thank you for attending that. All right, anything additional? No? Solicitor?
No.
Travis, anything?
I do actually have one more thing. We had pointed out, well, we were gonna revisit the tennis courts. So, I reached back out to the company who gave us the good quote, Schubert Tennis, to ask them if they had ever heard of, or if they knew, or if it would benefit us, given that we're concerned about the base, if we did some core samples for the tennis court. So he thought that that made sense. He hadn't done it, so he was looking into it, and then he's gonna get back to me, but he's not, I haven't heard back from him yet. So I talked to him last week, so at this point, I don't think we can move forward until we find out whether we can do cores and if that core will show us anything. So once we get that information, I'll report back, but it was, you know, it was talked about last month that we follow up, so I want to make sure we did that.
Okay. Yeah, so that's something that we've got to address at some point here soon. And I'll just encourage you guys, if you didn't make it out yet, to go out there and check those courts out so that we can kind of all come together here very soon and make a decision on what we want to do there.
And then I'm meeting with the playground equipment installer, the company who installed that next week. We're going to look at that installation. The intention was why that ring is higher than what would normally be expected was there was going to be some fill in there to allow for water runoff. So there's going to be kind of landscaped around that. So it would help water run off away from it. So we'll see when they come out. They haven't seen it yet, so we'll talk through it. And, you know, they've always been good to work with as far as remedying any issues that we've had. So follow up with that again at the next meeting.
Thank you. All right, anything else? All right, our next council meeting is on April 24th at 6 p.m. So make sure you have that on your calendar, and if there's nothing else to come before council tonight, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Councilmember Hanselman has made a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilmember Barnhart. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?